हेलो। Okay, good evening, all of you. Once again, we meet today. Okay, so this session, I will not be taking any numericals or any theoretical part. Just will go through the revision of the VCRS system. I will show you the various components involved in a VCRS system. Okay, so let us go to the topic. So welcome to this lecture of refrigeration and air conditioning, and we are at the topic VCRS systems. Okay. So this is a basic vapor compression refrigeration cycle that we all are aware of it, right? So it has a evaporator, right? Then it goes to compressor, then condenser, and then expansion. All the objective of the refrigeration takes place in the evaporator. It extracts the heat, and the heat is been released into the condenser, right? So here compressor is the heart of the system. Compressor does just what its name is. It compresses the refrigerant. So it increases the pressure as well as the side effect is to increase the temperature also. It compresses the low pressure refrigerant vapor from evaporator and compresses it into high pressure vapor. External work done is on the system. Electric power is required. We can take solar. The solar is converted electricity then into the compressor. So there are various modes. You can directly take from the electricity board, or you can generate it through solar. Right. So this is the process of compression. So during compression of vapor, work is done on it, right? Its enthalpy increases, so does its pressure, and inlet to the wave compressor should be vapor state. So this is very practical thing you should follow. The compressor works only on gas, so make sure that the entering refrigerant should be at superheated state. Then only compressor can function well. If the refrigerant is at wet state, then compressor may get damaged or it may explode in worst case. Ideal compression isentropic is not possible in real operation. Okay, so isentropic means there will be some heat loss. Okay, isentropic means reversible adiabatic. The process is reversible as well as adiabatic. So in real cases, there some heat loss takes place. Okay. So first we'll see about the compressors, then we'll see evaporator, then we'll see condenser. So classification of compressors. Okay, so this is actually out of the syllabus content, but it's very important. So compressors generally classified as positive displacement and non-positive displacement. Okay. So just wait, I got a call. Okay. So positive displacement means you are already aware of it. So that means whatever you have seen, reciprocating air compressors in which the air is taken inside, then it is compressed, and then it is being sent to the receiver or the atmosphere, mostly in the receiver. Not positive means continuously air is being compressed and it is being discharged. So continuously that process takes place. For example, in centrifugal compressors. Okay. Beyond this distinction, each type of differs based on a specific mechanism or fluid compression. So open type. So open type means obviously that non-positive displacement compressors. So that is also called as open type. So open types have a separate housing for the compressor and the motor. They rely on the lubricant in the system to splash on pump and component analysis. If not operated frequently, the system can leak its operating gases. So all these open type of compressor or non-positive, they have to be operated continuously. Okay. Open compressor can be driven by non-electric power sources such as combustion engines. These are the open type of compressors. Right? So this already you're familiar with it. So here it is a suction. It takes inside. It has been compressed and then it is been sent to the receiver. So here at the exit, there it is connected to the receiver. We already seen in the automobile workshop, the big receiver is there. From that way, that connection is made to pump the air into the tires or tubes of the vehicle. Then depending on the construction, they are further classified hermetic type and semi-hermetic types. Okay. So hermetic type seal the compressor and motor together in the same housing. So we have motor and compressor in the same housing. These compressors are leak free and can sit for long period unused, but cannot be maintained or repaired. So see, this are generally used in what you see water coolers. We make use of this kind of hermetic type of compressor. Then we have semi-hermetic, in which also contain the motor compressor in one housing, but instead of one piece housing, they incorporate gasketed or bolted core. So this type of compressor is difficult to open and maintain. This is a simpler one, semi-hermetic, and mostly in fridge we are using this kind of compressors. So mostly it is used hermetic. In some cases, you will find semi-hermetic also. Then there are basically 5 types of air conditioner compressors that are commonly used in HVAC industry. So reciprocating is very common. Scroll, screw, rotary, and centrifugal. So very like if the capacity of the plant is very high, in that case only they're considering for centrifugal compressors. Otherwise, mostly they are using this kind of compressors. Other. These are you all aware of it? Reciprocating or piston compressors. We have studied this into ATD. That was the last chapter there. So there is a piston and cylinder assembly. It takes the air in the suction stroke, it compresses it, and the compressed air is sent to the receiver in the discharge stroke. Okay. So here, this is a, I don't know why this animation is not playing. This animation should have been played. Okay, so this is a VCRS system again. This is a again compressor, evaporator, compressor, condenser, and expansion valve. In this case, this compressor you can see here it is a piston cylinder assembly or reciprocating air compressor. Second here it is rotary compressors. So again, I'm repeating this. You already studied this in ATD or you have studied this in FMFP, right? Fluid motion, fluid power. So again, this will be a revision for it. So rotary compressors. So the construction is here, as you can see in the diagram. There is this central mover is there. Then there is a casing. The axis is not coincident. So axis of this casing and axis of this motor or the mover is different. So that is why it follows such pattern. It takes the air, compresses here at the bottom. Again, it is discharged, right? So next here we have helical rotary or screw type compressor. So these are like used for high pressure compressors, screw type or rotary type. Okay. So again, in this case, it will take the air, compress while it passes through these gears, helical gears, and then it is being discharged. Okay. So I'm kind of taking it in fast pace because I have to cover other components also, evaporator and condensers. Then we have scroll type. So scroll type are also very famous. So as you can see, this is the actually assembly of the scroll type. There is a scroll inside of it and it continuously rotates. So while rotating, so there are two scrolls and one, so because of the gap between these two scrolls, air is being compressed and then it is discharged. Okay. Scroll type is also famous in commercial air conditioning equipment or compressors. Centrifugal type. So this is a centrifugal type. It takes the air axially, compress, and then it is being discharged. Okay. So mostly in large applications, it is being used. Typically used for very large applications. Now, how to specify compressor? Okay. So this is again very important point here. So if you work in the industry, being a mechanical engineer, so somebody will approach you that we need this capacity of compressor in kilowatt. Okay. So you have designed or you require this much amount of energy, kilowatt for compressor. But next task is to select the compressor, right? You have to go to the catalog of various companies. There you have to find the suitable compressor. So how they are specified in the catalog, it is given here. So in catalog, compressor capacity will be given, condensing temperature, evaporating temperature, refrigerant flow rate, and power consumption. So these parameters will be there. Okay, so from that catalog, you can select your suitable compressor. Right? So any question up to this point, you can ask. Okay. Right. Now next here it is evaporators and condensers. So what is the purpose of evaporator? So purpose is, in that case, it extract the heat. So what is the objective of whole refrigeration is to extract the heat from low temperature reservoir. So in that case, evaporator plays that role. Okay. So purpose of evaporator is to receive low pressure, low temperature fluid from the expansion wall and to bring it in close with thermal contact with the load. Load means thermal load. Okay. A classification of evaporators. Evaporators are classified according to their refrigerant flow pattern, their function, geometrical features, etc. Evaporators which cool water, evaporators with cool air. So what is this? We'll see. So classification of evaporators. So evaporators are generally one type of heat exchanger. So whatever heat exchanger theory is there, it is applied to this one also and condenser also. So evaporators, first one here it is a flooded type evaporators. So in this case, there is a tube and shell arrangement is there. Inside the tubes, our refrigerant flows, and outside there is a other liquid. Okay, so there is a shell and tube, there is jacketed, and there is a raceway type of evaporators being used. Okay, so inside the fluid there is a tube, there is a refrigerant, outside there is a another fluid. Okay, so A is a shell and tube type. Here B is a jacketed. Also, it is called as sometimes double pipe. So there will be one pipe, and above that or on that outside region there will be another pipe. So it is a jacketed one. Third one is a raceway. Okay, figure is here. Okay, so at least you should remember, right? So these are the types of the evaporators. So flooded shell and tube evaporator. So whatever it was shown here, it is again shown in the larger diagram. There is a very famous MNC is there, Alpha Laval, which is famous for this type of heat exchangers. So this is a what it looks like practically. This is its cut section diagram. So as you can see here, there is a inlet is there. Refrigerant liquid comes in. It is taken out, and through the tubes, the water flows. Okay. So this is actually a central type of system in which refrigerant first cools the water, then water cools the air. Okay. There is no direct contact between air and refrigerant. Okay. So refrigerant comes inside, it cools the water which is present inside the tubes, then it is being taken out. So this is a shell and tube type of heat exchanger. Similar diagram is shown here. Fluid comes in and then fluid goes out. Water flows inside of this and it is being used to cool the air or further applications, whatever may be. Then evaporators. So if you see the air conditioning units, in that case, roof hanging units are there, diffusers are there. So these are one type of evaporators. So what you, if you say, take example of split AC, inside section, what you see inside the room, so that is a evaporator, plus other components are there. Outside section, what you see of AC, that is comprised of condenser and compressor. Okay. So this is one of those floor mounted air conditioning unit is there. Okay. So these are the fans which are used to cool the condenser coils. So this type of is called an air cooled condenser. Fans are used to cool the condenser. Okay. This is the inside section. Inside section is a evaporator. Again, this is also very familiar. So if you open your fridge, in that case, you will find this kind of casings will be there, right? So these casings are nothing but the evaporators. Okay. So you can do it in your home also. You can go and check inside surface of your fridge. It will not be plain. So there will be some kind of grooves will be there. Okay. Is it nothing but the evaporator? Okay. This will be inside that the refrigerant will flow. It will cool the air inside the refrigerator. Okay. So that will be a direct contact between refrigerant and air. Okay, so in evaporator, very famous concept is there, which is called a defrosting. So if you open your fridge, in that also you'll find one button is there, which is of defrosting. You can press that button automatically, or that process of defrosting will start. So the ice being formed inside your that section, whatever ice is formed in that ice section or ice box, that will start to melt it. Okay, so actually the frosting is very it is not good for a fridge, right? Because what happens when a frost or the ice forms on the tubes, it creates a thermal barrier. So heat transfer cannot take place. And in that case, the performance or the COP of the refrigeration system becomes low. So defrosting has to be done periodically. Okay. So air cooling evaporators working below 0 degrees Celsius will accumulate frost, which must be removed periodically, since it will obstruct the heat transfer. So it creates a layer, and that layer is obstruction to the heat transfer. So there are various defrosting methods. First is electric resistant heaters. So heaters will be used, hot gas will be used, and reverse cycle. Mostly reverse cycle is being employed. So what happens in that case? The cycle is reverse, right? First it was evaporator, then compressor, then condenser, then expansion. In defrosting, the cycle reverses. So it will be like expansion, evaporator, expansion, condenser, and compressor. So the evaporator now will become condenser, and condenser will become a evaporator. So this way the cycle gets reversed, and the ice will start to melt. Right. So that is about the refrigeration evaporators. Okay. So up to this point, we have seen condenser and evaporator. So if you have any doubt in this, you can ask. So in reverse cycle C, the direction of flow of the refrigerant is reversed to make the evaporator act as a condenser. Heat storage or another evaporator are needed as a heat source. Okay. So either you can use electric heaters to melt the ice, or you can use hot gas, or you can reverse the cycle. Reverse the cycle means evaporator will become a condenser, temperature will increase, and ice will melt. Okay. Shall we move? Next and last one here. Here it is a condenser. Okay, condenser is again very important part of a refrigerant system. So classification of condenser, air cooled condenser. So in that case, fan will be used. Already I have showed you the diagram. Water cooled condenser, water jackets will be used. Evaporative condenser. In that case, we are using cooling towers. Okay, so air cooled, fan, water cooled, water jackets, evaporative, cooling towers. So these are the air cooled condensers. As you can see, there is a fan, and there is this condenser assembly is there. So inside this, the refrigerant flows in the condenser in these coils, and there is the fan. So as we are supplying air on the tubes with the help of fans, so that will be a forced convection, right? There are two types: natural convection and forced convection. If we are supplying air with some velocity or mass flow rate, that will be a forced convection. Okay? And this is a natural convection here. So this is a you will find in fridge, right? Small fridge or medium sized fridge. There you can observe this kind of assembly. So simply there is this coil is there, and there are some vertical rods will be there for maximum heat transfer, and there will be no fan, right? Whatever heat transfer or air will carry the heat, so that will be by natural convection. There will be no force, or there will be no air will be imparted or passed onto the tube. So naturally air will conduct the heat, and that cycle will repeat. So this is again one another forced convection rooftop or floor mounted condenser is there. Okay. So this is about the air cooled condensers. Second is water cooled condenser. Again, condenser or evaporator, both are heat exchanger devices. So in this case, again, you will observe in water cooled, you will observe shell and tube assembly. So as you can see here, again, alpha level is again famous in production of this. Alpha level or Thermax, these are very good MNCs in the manufacturing, procurement of heat exchangers. Okay. So as you can see here, again, this water cooled is classified as shell and tube condenser, shell and coil condenser, and double tube condenser. So shell and tube, you already seen there are tubes, and outside that there is a shell casing. Double tube means like this. So inside there will be tube. So as you can see, there is an inside tube which contains water. Outside tube will contain a refrigerant. So that is a double tube system. This water cooled condenser will be used in conjunction with the coolant towers. See, refrigerant will cool the water, water will cool the air in the refrigerant system. Okay. Now, in condenser, we are cooling the refrigerant with the help of water, right? So we are using water to extract the heat from the refrigerant, and that heat is again supplied to the atmosphere with the help of cooling towers. Okay. So what are the cooling towers? We'll see. So this kind of cooling towers you may observe. So what happens in cooling tower? The water is cooled with the by the principle of evaporation, and that water is passed again back to the condenser. In condenser, that water will remove the heat from the refrigerant. Okay. Okay. And third type here, it is evaporative condensers. Again, in this case, there will be a condensation coil will be there. Okay. But in this case, what will happen? Water will be impinged with the help of some nozzles or some arrangement onto the these tubes. Now, what will happen in this case? The water will extract the heat from the tubes and it will get evaporated. Okay. There is a basic difference between boiling and evaporation. So evaporation will depend on whatever the partial pressure of the water vapors in the atmosphere. So depending on that, evaporation will take place. So it will extract the heat, it will evaporate it, and the hot air with along with some water vapors will be extracted from the top. Okay, so this is the condenser coil which will carry the refrigerant. It is being cooled by the water. Water gets evaporated, it is being taken. So that is why it is called as evaporative condenser. Okay. There is a difference between evaporative condensers and cooling towers. Cooling towers are used in conjunction with water cooled condenser. In evaporative condenser, it is a combination of water cooled and cooling towers. So this type of system you may observe. If you get a chance to for a industrial visit, in that case, I will show you this kind of cooling towers will be installed on the buildings. So hopefully we'll get a time for that. Right. So thank you. So if you have any doubts up to this point, you may ask. So this session, I will again quickly recap whatever we have learned today. We started with this basic cycle of VCRS, right? Then we went for the compressors, right? So compression process. Then we have seen the classification of compressors. Then we have seen hermetic, semi-hermetic, right? Reciprocating air compressors. Then rotary type. Then helical screw type. Then scroll type, right? Centrifugal compressors generally used for large applications. Then we have seen compressors, how to like select the compressor. So these are some points which will be available in the company's catalog. From that you can select. Then we have seen about the evaporators, like classification, then types, type, flooded shell and water, then hanging rooftop, like these are the some used in the commercial fridge and coolers. Flat surface evaporator. Then we have seen the process of defrosting. So frosting has to be done regularly because ice will form on the evaporator coils and it will obstruct the heat transfer. So that has to be removed. Ice has to be removed. So defrosting methods we have seen electric heating or hot gas heating or reverse cycle. Then we have seen a refrigerant condenser. Then again there are three types: air cooled, in air cooled. You can see that fans are used. Okay. Then we have water cooled, in which water will be used, right? So water cooled is used along with the cooling towers. And third one we have seen about the evaporative condenser. So these are the, in this case, evaporation of water takes place. So that name comes here, evaporative condensers. Okay. So I think this will again increase your knowledge about the various components of the VCRS system. If you have any doubt, please ask. Yes. Any doubt? Akash. Akash Asgar. Saurabh Wadekar. If you have any questions, you can ask. Right. So in next lecture, we'll start our VRS system. Okay, vapor absorption refrigeration system, and that is the actually the second part of second chapter. So first part was VCRS system. So we have covered the VCRS system, various types of VCRS system. We have covered the numerical part of the VCRS system. Right. In a one session, I will take the numerical again for your better understanding. Yeah, but in next lecture we start the VRS system, vapor absorption refrigeration system. Okay. So put your attendance in the chat box, and then you can leave. Okay, thank you.